Hello guys.
Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome guys.
My name is Franklin.
My name is Mary.
Yeah, so today, as promised, we are circling back to what we did last week and to pull out lessons from our season of courtship.
Yes. So last week we talked about dating, friendship, and courtship.
So dating is an advanced form of friendship where you guys study each other, learn
like
each other, you like each other, observe each other to learn one or two things. It's also the stage where we call the toasting stage, where either the guy or the lady is still believing God, believing to hear from God concerning His will concerning that relationship or friendship. Now, courtship is where two of you are now sure and you have one single destination. You guys are now certain that your destination is marriage, and you are planning and preparing towards marriage. So everything you do around your life, you're building. It's not just only about trying to learn each other. Now it's doing things and collaborating effectively to be able to have a good and a sustainable marriage.
So in courtship, there is a form of commitment. That is the first thing that you need to know. That there is a form of commitment in courtship. And
also, the family is also aware when you are in courtship. In dating, they may be aware, they might not be aware, but in courtship, it's always necessary. I think we should go straight to the point. Immediately after this break, we are going to come back and tell you the 5 things that we have learned over the course of our courtship.
Sit tight. Welcome back, guys.
Yes. We're going to be diving straight into the lessons for today. We just have 5 lessons and maybe some extras if the Holy Spirit inspires us to talk about what we learned in our season of courtship. The first is called fellowship.
Fellowship.
You want to comment on that?
Yes. So fellowship, during our courtship, we took fellowship as important as anything else, because our relationship started off with God, and fellowship cannot be extracted from it. Like, fellowship is part of what held our relationship, from the friendship time to the dating and to the courtship. We were able to connect in that aspect of fellowship. I was able to understand how He relates with God to an extent. He was able to understand how I relate with God.
The glue that holds everything together, both from the time when you're dating your wife down to the time when you guys are courting, is actually your fellowship with God. I remember my wife tells me this all the time. She says that I don't trust you, right? But I trust the God that you have. What brought me to you was God, and therefore I leave you in His hand, right? If you do anything that goes against the rule of our marriage, right, you are accountable to God, and I trust God. And because I trust God, I'm not worried about whatever is going to happen. So that has kept us going, understanding the fact that, yes, I might be the head of the home, but Christ is actually the head of our marriage. So both of us accountable to God makes our courtship, right, and which will lead into marriage. It makes it easier
for us during that time to navigate those times. And another thing about fellowship is that we build a sense of togetherness in fellowship. I don't know.
We bonded.
Yes, we bonded. Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
Beyond even fellowship just being communicating to God, it helps us to bond in ways that words cannot express. There's so much you can do when you try to just like this guy, I like this character, I like that. But when you're in the presence of God, there is a bonding of spirits.
Yeah,
there's a bonding of spirits, and that is why I would tell couples or people who are dating or courting who are not yet praying together, it is absolutely important. It is 100% required to pray together with the person that you're looking to marry.
Yes.
This is because you guys are telling God that you are accountable to Him.
Yes.
You people are telling God that He is the author and the head of your marriage.
You are committing your relationship into His
hand. Yes. You might not say it, but you're also telling Him that He that has started this good work in you will bring it into completion.
Yes. So that's place where you guys need to pray together, where you guys need to study together. That was what we were doing during our courtship. So in courtship, this is what is supposed to happen. This is what should happen in a Christian courtship.
Will you advise people who are dating to pray together?
People who are dating to pray together.
Because you know why I'm asking this question.
Okay.
Some people in some places, some churches, believe that that you shouldn't be prayer partners with the person that you're dating. Do you think that's correct?
I don't think so because it's like we said in our previous video, it started from dating. You like this person, you're seeing potentials in this person, you're seeing that there's a possibility that something can happen between you guys. Actually, for me, I will encourage that, because most especially when you see that this person has potential, and there's potential that can lead into marriage.
But do you think that there should be boundaries when you are praying with somebody who you are still dating? Because
what type of boundaries?
Yes, sometimes you see a brother and a sister having night video, right, in the church, and they are still dating, and they are believing, that is where boundaries come in. Do you know, when you're dating somebody, there has to be boundaries, right? And I think that people who are watching would understand where I'm trying to come from. There is a boundary that should exist within the time of dating, because there are still uncertainties. You guys are still believing God for certain things. So even as we're talking about the advantages of praying together as people who are dating, and courting, it's also important to understand that there should be boundaries, so that you would not lead yourself into unnecessary temptation.
Please, we're talking about what should happen in courtship.
We don't talk and finish, so let's move on.
So you are going to
I'll cut. Don't worry, I'll cut this back.
So yes, fellowship is very important.
Very, very important.
Very important in your courtship season. We can't overemphasize that. But praying together, studying together, create a bond between you and your partner. That's one thing you should know. There's this bonding. I can still remember something that happened when I was in school. I had one of my leaders. We were officiating together in school, and because we were officiating together, we prayed together a lot. And from those prayer time, we understood each other even more. We got closer even more. And I can still remember then I was with my husband.
Guys, she's confessing.
I was with my husband. We're still, cutting that time. And I told him about this person. And he was like, no. You have to limit the prayers with this person. Because he understood that the first form of bonding is spiritually. That is the first form of bonding. If you can bond with somebody spiritually, the major work has been done.
Yes, and if you remember, I remember the reason why I told you that was because I understood that spiritual bonding is actually real. And a lot of people who are dating don't really take it serious. They think everything is social bonding. Oh, let's go out, let's eat pizza.
What I like, what he likes, what I feel,
the best form of bonding that can sustain your marriage
is spiritual bonding.
So let's move on to the next lesson.
Yes. So the next lesson for us, what we learned during courtship, is compromise.
It is. there will be a lot of compromise while you are both dating and while you're courting.
Do it again.
There were times when, because as a bachelor, right, who was not dating anybody, I was used to a certain kind of life. I was used to being my own man, doing things my way, right? I had this cupboard that I got, I hung my cloth the way I loved to, I ironed it the way I wanted to, packaged it the way I wanted to. And, I realized that the moment I started courting, right, she started telling me specifics around the area of, how she would have loved, how she would have loved things to be done. And at some point, I had to call her, like, this is the way I do things, and she told me that she's just trying to tell me what she's comfortable with. So if there are things you personally you're not comfortable with, right, you have to be vulnerable in that area, and then that is where compromise comes in. If you are not able to compromise for the one you love, then check if you truly love that person. Because there will be a lot of demand on your life to make changes that are not comfortable, right? And if you truly value that person and you are truly marrying them and because God asked you to do, not because you are pitying for them, you would make those changes, right? I'm not saying that it's everything this person demands. Some of these things you have to debate and maybe even politic about it, negotiate around it. But you must understand that compromise is inevitable in every courtship relationship.
And another thing that happened for me, I'm going to cite an example, is that we're talking about compromise. I was able to compromise in the aspect of personality, or let's say character. Okay. So my husband is more of a reserved type. He's more of a quiet. He's more of a quiet type. He's more of a reserved type. He's more of a shy type. So he doesn't like.
Shy. I'm not shy.
Not per se. Okay. So he doesn't want any form of like attention towards him. Why, on the other hand, I'm the more jovial kind of person. I'm the high kind of person. My energy was everywhere. I'm that type of person that I will see somebody right now, I will meet you for the first time, I'm already gisting with you, I'm already talking with you, I'm that kind of person. So I understood that he has a particular type of character and personality. So those times where I'm over energetic or I'm all over the place, he calls me to order. He'll be like, no babe, you're doing too much at this time.
I don't do it in public.
Yes, he doesn't do it. But he tells me like later that, hey babe, you were over everywhere.
And sometimes we argue about it. Sometimes she's like, no, why are you just criticizing me? And I tell her, the way you tell your spouse these things matter too. Because some people just say it, I'm a blunt person. They just tell you I'm a blunt person. I'll tell you as it's hot. That's not how you do it.
This is how I am.
That's not how you do it, brothers. Especially you. Don't and ladies who like talking. You are not blunt to the person you're courting because it's leading to marriage. Otherwise, you could destroy your relationship with what you say. So whenever you're correcting whoever you're dating or courting, you have to be aware that this person must be corrected in love.
So like I said, compromise, it is a must. Sorry, in your courtship, you're courting right now, it is a must. Do not say that the person is trying to change you. No, the person is not trying to change you. You both are coming to a place of compatibility.
And so, the biggest problem I've realized about compromise is ego. Ego. If you are a man or a woman who has had a particular life before, especially women who are probably accomplished, or a man who, in where you're coming from in your house, you were the breadwinner or you're the king of the home, your mother is always hailing you.
You are the first son, you are in charge of everything.
Exactly, and all those things. And sometimes many of us wants to carry this attitude and carry it into our courtship relationship. It cannot work because the person
you feel like who are you to even tell me what to do? Who are you to even talk to me? So that ego, that pride coming, like, do you know who I am?
Exactly.
So that is what we can say about compromise. Like, we can say a whole lot about
I'm
compromise.
telling you. See, and then even looking at it from the scriptural perspective, marriage as, an institution set up by God is a dramatization of the love of Christ for his church. And what did Christ do to dramatize his love? He humbled himself and went to the death of the cross. Yeah. So you would lay off a lot of your pride. You would lay off a lot of your reputation. You would humble yourself in order to be able to love your wife as Christ loved his body, which is the church.
And remember, remember that in courtship, what you're doing is you're building something tangible with this person. You're building a relationship that will last for a lifetime.
Correct.
Okay, so this is the point where you need to, compromise in some aspects, because what you're pursuing after is bigger.
Yes. Also, another thing, I think, while we are saying compromise, I think we also need to be careful to strike a balance.
Yeah.
Because there are some patterns that are totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
And some parties in a relationship, are trying to normalize these things in their relationship. For example, in Africa, we are not the types that, open the doors for you, right?
Yeah.
We're not the types that, pampers you that way. And
we'll get you flowers.
Yes, get you flowers. Now, it's not a bad thing. Even we're talking out of our own personal experiences.
Yes.
We were not that type of people who were dating that I will be opening her door for her. I'll be doing,
carry my bag.
Exactly. We didn't do that. Why? We didn't do that because we understood context. We understood where we were. We understood where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So check where you're coming from. Check the background of who you're dating. And try your best to speak their love language. But sometimes, while trying to speak people's love language, if it's affecting you in a way that is not positive, try and have a discussion around it. And see whether there is a middle point or a meeting point that you people can come to that will be beneficial both for you and the person that you're dating.
Okay, so moving on
before we say everything.
We've said a lot about compromise.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to be talking about in courtship, what we learn during courtship, is communication. See, you guys, in courtship, you will need to talk. You will need to talk a lot of times.
There's no gentleman in relationship.
In courtship, there is no gentleman. You will need to discuss a lot. You will need to discuss what is happening now, what is happening tomorrow, what will happen in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 2 years.
Exactly. You see, terrible things thrive in secrecy. I can notice something not very good about my wife. If I keep it to myself, it will ease me up to the point that maybe at the brink of our marriage, I'll break that relationship.
Yes.
So bring everything to light.
Yeah.
Open up. If something is... See, in fact, I would say that courtship is the time when you should talk about everything.
Yes.
Bring everything
single
to light.
thing.
If you remember, dear, I was telling you that now that we are courting, that's why I'm raising some of these issues. Yeah. When we get married, I will stop talking. I will ask her. I was telling her that.
He always
while we
say
were
that.
courting, because I understood that the best time to prepare for marriage is when you are courting.
Yes, it's in your courtship.
The best time to train your wife for marriage and prepare her
guys,
on how she can
listen.
be effective in marriage.
Take this advice.
In courtship. Because you will land yourself in trouble if you are not the opening door guy type, and you are doing it in your courtship, and then when you get married, because you are now familiar and used to her, you are unable to do that thing. It will be a burden to you. It will cause issue, problem. Yes. So that thing you are not comfortable with now is the time to talk about it. Talk about it, communicate it, so that in marriage it will not bring issues. Yeah. He that has ears, let him hear.
So you just have to be vulnerable in communication. Yes. You have to be vulnerable. Open up and let the person, know whatever that is happening, know how you feel about some things. And communication is not just talking about this; it's also communicating your feelings. you know,
and then the effects of what their actions are to
exactly
you, how it affects you. If this guy is somebody likes talking in this kind of way, because I remember there was a time I think I spoke to you in a certain way, right? And then you complained that I wasn't soft with you and all. I apologized, right? And I told you that we are all boys in our house, so there is a way we're brought up. We can just be like that. We can be very straight. You know, she was now telling me that I should wish that I was a bit softer, and I have learned to be softer. That's the funny thing.
That's actually
so
true.
communication is very, very, very key, guys.
Yes, it's very key. So moving on, another thing that we learned during our courtship and what we did during our courtship is that we had self-control. Guys, hold on first. I know, because everybody we want to know what but yes, there was self-control to a very great extent. We're not here to tell you guys that we're all perfect, you know, we had it all, you know, figured out. No, we are not here to tell you guys that. But the reality of it is that in your courtship there must be boundaries. Set boundaries.
Specific boundaries.
Specific that you guys are not going to do a certain thing. You guys are not going to do this. You guys are not going to do that.
Yes.
You understand? So self-control is important.
The best time to set boundaries in your courtship is when you just start. When
you just started out.
When your wife just tells you yes, or when you guys come to that agreement. That's the first time. Like for some people, you might need to set boundaries on, you are not visiting me. For some people, you know, because you know yourself. You see, we can deceive anybody.
Yeah.
But you see ourselves, we cannot. You are becoming one with your wife. So it's important that you realize that when you guys fall into sin, especially the sin of fornication, right, you are going to cause problems and troubles for yourself, and you would make your spiritual bond, you destroy your spiritual bond.
You are human. We are Christians, we are believers. We know what we believe, we know what we hold up onto, you know, but because we are humans, you know, you're seeing that person that you are in a courtship with, that you know that you're getting married
and you're going to get married to anyway. There's
this form of, you know, feelings that can come up, the flesh, you know, anyways, you know, and that's the time that the devil will start to feed your mind. After all, you guys are going to get married, so what's there? Why not now? And you guys can do this, you guys can touch each other, you guys can kiss, you guys can have sex. That's why it's good to set boundaries from the beginning. What are you guys going to be doing? What are you guys not going to be doing? So are you coming to visit him or not? Is he coming to visit you or not? If you're going to be visiting each other, and you know that you cannot, you know, hold yourself, there should be a third party. There should be somebody there. Don't
come with your friend.
Exactly. You can visit with your friend. You can go with somebody. You can, if you guys are going to meet outside and you know that this is your body, you know, feel whole lamb. If you guys are going to meet anywhere and you know that this is your body, you cannot hold it, meet outside then. If you know that the house is going to be more tempting for you.
If you truly want to have great self-control during your courting season, you have to learn each other properly during your dating season. The dating season has to be maximally used. You have to use it well to understand this person, you know, understand their strengths, understand their weaknesses, be vulnerable, open up to each other. Do you understand? Although I know that there might be some things you would withhold because you are uncertain, but to an extent you need to, you know, let the person understand your personality and who you are. With that information, you can navigate, you know, your courtship better because you have a background of who this person is. You know their vulnerabilities and the areas that, you know, might likely lead you guys into sin, right? And also I'm sure also that if there is, you know, spiritual bond, if there's a spiritual bond, it's also easier for you to navigate your courtship season, because from the get-go, which is your dating, you guys are already praying, praying together, and seeking the Lord's will. Remember what I said earlier about, God being the mentor or the supervisor of your marriage.
Head.
Yes, when God is actually the head of your marriage, even when you've made mistakes, within your courtship. I know that people watching us might have gone through situations whereby they've made certain mistakes. All hope is not lost.
Yes.
You have to understand that God, you have to place God in that position where he's the head, of your courtship relationship, and then, go to him and surrender everything to him, and then you will be able to find that peace that you need to navigate the rest of your courtship relationship.
So, still talking about self-control, we had some boundaries that we set for ourselves that we said was a no-no, like sex before marriage was out of it for us. There was no this thing. So we had some boundaries like that we set for ourselves, that we're not going to do some kind of this, and even when we are speaking on phone, when we're talking, there's sometimes that we check the time and we say, okay, we're now talking too long or too, that from this conversation
it could lead to something
else, and there were times that we need to end the call and say, oh, we are not talking at this time again, and we go off just like that. So these are the things that you can do, in your courtship season. These were the things that we did
in our
that helped
season.
us during our courtship season, not to sin against God, because sin is real. And the thing is that we had a relationship with God already. We didn't want to offend God. We wanted our courtship season, our relationship, our marriage to please God. We were looking at that godly marriage for us. We had it in view. So regardless of whatever temptation that came our way, this was our focus. This was our, what we're looking at, a marriage and a courtship and a relationship that we please God.
Yes, and so you might be watching us right now, and you might be going through a rough patch in your relationship. Maybe you guys have made some mistakes that you ought not to make.
All hope is not lost.
All hope is not lost. What you need to do is to, take your focus off the issues, and face God, right? You might need to set boundaries, just like we talked about earlier. Maybe you might need to stop visiting each other. You might need to, just take a break from certain things that you do together. That will help to actually focus you properly. It's like fasting. Fasting is not just abstaining from food alone. Right? When we fast, we abstain from carnal things, so that the spirit man can be propped up enough to be able to take charge of the running of the entire man. So you might need to fast from certain things in your relationship, so that the spirit man, the spirit of God, will stir up your spirit to do, greater and better things together.
And I also want you to know, and I also want you to know that regardless of whatever that mistake that you've made in your courtship right now, God still loves you.
He does.
God is still God is still concerned about you. Okay, so do not focus on the sin that is already committed. Focus on what you can build. What you can, the love God has for you. Focus on how you can also grow, and navigate that aspect of your life. Because the moment you dwell on that sin that has been committed, that is when the devil strikes, and that is where, he continues to feed your mind with a whole lot of stuff and make you feel like you've sinned against God and there's nothing you can do about it. No, our Father is not like that, and that is why He is there. He's always there for us, to help us navigate through these times, because He knows that these times will come, but what you do about the situation, that is what matters.
So the next lesson we learned was lessons on commitment and trust. Even though during our dating season we knew each other, we still knew each other to an extent. Now, when we talk about commitment and trust, I want us to talk about it together, because they are interrelated.
Yes.
Trust is actually that virtue of, surrendering yourself to somebody, right, to do with you as they will, right? And being committed to somebody means that, you are at the other end, right? Somebody giving you your trust and you being committed, right, to serve that person, that is giving you that trust. So So I remember at some point, my wife would buy me some clothes, you know, and then tried also to make me look better because I wasn't a fashionable person at all. You know,
I was the fashion
she was a fashionable person.
And my husband's dress sense was
it was zero actually, zero.
So yeah,
zero. So she actually helped me a lot. Even till now, God is still helping me, you know, to prop that up, you know, and also times when I've also helped out sometimes when she was in school. You know, sent her, you know, just to top up, you know, a couple of, you know, levies in school and all of that. You know, that is commitment, right? If you don't show commitment in
those things,
yes, in those little things, it might not be a lot, like maybe doing big things, you know, like maybe buying an iPhone. I bought you how many phones? Now,
oh my God,
we are saying all of this not necessarily to say yours has to be exactly how we did ours.
Yes.
But it's basically just to understand that doing things for each other has a way of just fueling the fires of love
it
for
shows
one another.
It shows commitment, okay?
Yes.
So that you are financially committing to that person, emotionally committing to that person, spiritually committing to that person, you know, and every other way you are committing to that person. So it should not just be one way of commitment. And in this commitment, you are building trust. Both of you are learning to trust each other the more. There are some things that, you know, somebody might say concerning my fiance at that concerning my fiance at that time that I'll be like, no, this is not true, because he has made me trust him. He has made me, you know, believe in him. He has also made me believe in him due to the things that he was doing at that time.
Yes, and being committed to your spouse or your spouse to be is not a one-sided thing. In Africa especially, this is like a stereotype which I want every believer listening or everybody who is in a relationship to actually understand that it is not the man that should always be the one that will give. Right? My wife actually exemplified, you know, the ideal woman, because she actually was doing the majority of the giving. I can count the amount of times that I really gave her stuff, right? Yes, I was trying my own little best, but you know, she was always giving those little things. And when you think about, you know, my own, maybe one is one, right? But her own, those little things every time actually accumulate to something huge at the end of the day. You know, so
it speaks of something.
Yes, if you're somebody who is in a courtship relationship, learn to give gifts to your spouse. Learn to, you know, buy when you are buying stuff for yourself, you know, randomly just surprise them. Like maybe not a big surprise, something small, you know. The other day she came, got me a watch, you know. I was like, where is this coming from? My birthday, she bought me clothes, she bought me this, like it was just so like it was just like a free-flowing stream that just came out of her. She was always, you know, open-handed. That was why when, you know, we find ourselves in some desperate situation, even while we are married right now, you know, we've had some really difficult times when, you know, it seemed as if, you know, nothing was there, you know, we were struggling, literally struggling in many areas, but, you know, because of the kind of person she was and because of the kind of person she is, I trust her, you know, that, you know, she's able to handle it, right? Even while we were still cutting, there were many things, because I even remember one time when, you know, she was to go to an orphanage. I was supposed to go there with her, you know, to, you know, just, you know, give a couple of kids a couple of things. You know, I was supposed to be there with her and all of that because I was busy with work and all of that. You know, I just knew she could handle it, so I just told her it's fine, just go alone. You know, or even though she wasn't happy that I didn't go with her. You know, she was. You know, I
so, the person that you're in courtship with, you have to stay committed to that person. You have to trust that person. While you're courting, you have to build a form of trust.
Yes, and the best way to build trust, babe, is your spiritual bond. Trust me, you can build trust with your head and with your knowledge of that person. But your knowledge is limited.
When there is spiritual bond.
Yes, see the foundation.
Your knowledge is.
Yes, the foundation for all of our commitment and trust, I would say, was based on the fact that we knew each other from heaven. We knew each other from the other side.
Yes.
We did not just know each other.
Another rain.
Yes, we didn't know each other from after, how we appeared, how we related with each other based on that. Because see, there are some men that will come into your life. They will put up a picture.
They will put up a character.
A character of the person you would love to be with. But when you get into marriage with them,
they unveil themselves.
That's when you now you meet the devil that you were running away from. So it's important to understand that the foundation of all trusts, right, that will definitely stay your commitment, is in your spiritual bond. So having said all of this, we know that you have learned so much from some of the things we've talked about. There might be other things that we might not have covered about. Please leave us a comment. We are really big on comments because this is where we get to interact with you guys. This is where we get to hear your own takes and see your own perspective of things. We are still learning Christ. We are still understanding the things of the Spirit. We are still learning relationship. We are just like about 3 years,
almost 3 years,
almost 3 years now. So all of these things we are telling you is based on personal experiences. And if there's anything at all that you have to add or questions you have, as usual,
please leave it in the comment section. If you like us to discuss any topic, please leave it in the comment section and we'll look at it, and by the grace of God we'll work on it.
Yes. So that's all we have for you today.
We
hope you've been blessed by this series. We hope to come your way again with many more interesting discussions around marriage, and how you can better your relationship and how you can better your family life. I think we're going to do some talks around family. Our experiences as married people, right? How far, 3 years.
I think we're going to be doing that video on our third year anniversary. What we've learned in our 3 years of marriage. You guys will want to get that. We're going to share all the fights that we've had. We're going to spill a lot of things, and you will not want to miss that.
Yes, you don't want to miss that. So
please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Please do.
Click on that button.
We have a goal.
Yes.
We want to monetize this channel because we believe that the time that we've been spending to share these things, we can do it better. We can actually, improve the quality of our production. We can actually, so that we can serve you, content that is better. Yes. So please help us by subscribing, help us by leaving comments, help us by sharing, with your friends who are in relationships. Because if you've listened through to this time, you must have gotten some value. That's why you've waited to this time. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys so much.
Until we'll come your way next time. My name is Franklin.
My name is Mary.
And we are the Franklins. See you later.
Bye bye guys. Love you. Bye.
End the video now.